Hey YouTube, I'm back today making another video. Today I'm gonna be making Guyanese chicken stew, and this is the chicken I have already washed. I have 4 chicken thighs. That's what I'm working with today, and I'm gonna boil it. And I also have over here some garlic, a half a bulb of garlic, and a whole ginger, and a whole red onion cut in half. And I'm going to be making a paste to marinate the chicken. I'm going to be blending it, and I'm also going to be using 1.5 of a bay leaf and curry powder and ground coriander, and also a little bit of cilantro at the end. And last but not, oh, and the basil, can't forget the basil. I couldn't find fresh basil, so I got basil paste that I'll do, and some Maggi tablets of chicken. They boil. 1 is good enough. You can just crumble it into the stew. So yeah, I figured this is a really good like hot, you know, stew for the cold weather that's coming for you guys. And here in Florida, we're a little on the cold side ourselves. Not too cold, but in the lowest 70s. And okay, and then here I have also tomato paste. We're going to be adding that. And I also have my, let me just turn the camera, it'll be easier that way for you guys to see. This is a whole peeled tomato. I'm going to be adding that as well. So like I said, this is a Guyanese dish, and yeah, so let's get right into it. I'm going to cut the ginger also in half, just to make it a little easier, or maybe in half again. And then I'm going to add some water to the blend so that it'll get, you know, chopping a little easier. The smaller the better. Okay. So not too small, just, you know, so it doesn't dry up in the blender, even though we're gonna add the water. So I'm gonna just cut these up as well, the red onions. So like I said, I'm only gonna be using half to marinate the chicken. I'm gonna get that going. I already washed them, as I said. We're gonna bring that to a boil with just some water. But I'm going to add the paste first, so I'll show you how I do it. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys could see me over here. Alright. Alright, so I'm basically just cutting the, there we go. I'm cutting these in half. I'm going to save half for the stew, and just for the marinade, use half of the ginger, half of the onion. So we have the garlic, the onion, and the ginger. So I'm going to be putting that in the blender. Oh. Okay. Okay. I'm going to add the garlic and a little bit of water, just so that it doesn't get dried up. As you see, it was just about 2 or 3 tablespoons of water, not a lot of water, about 1 or 2 ounces. Say 1 ounce is enough, and if you hear it getting dried up, then you could always start again. Okay, so we're gonna go for a puree, but I'm gonna start as a chop. And there we have it. I want you guys to get a little closer so you can see me here. I hope you guys can see me. Okay. Come on. All right. So now that we pureed that half, that's what we're gonna marinate the chicken with. And then we're gonna bring that to a boil. I'm gonna put it on high. Let me get a spoon here so that I can spoon it out. Okay. Okay. So this is gonna get the chicken going. That has a lot of flavor in itself, and it smells so good in here already. So I'm gonna leave that there because, like I said, we're gonna do the other half and use it later on. So just gonna make sure that it gets all in the crevices and in the whole chicken. I left the bones on for this because it's gonna be extra soft once you boil it, and then we don't really need to worry about the bone. You want to get the paste everywhere and just let it marinate in there for a minute before you add the water. It smells amazing already. Okay. So we're just gonna let that boil. Okay. And I'm not gonna fill it up to boil. I just wanna put a little bit of water and go adding it little by little. I'll show you what I mean. Hold on. It's what they call a steam. You're not really boiling it so much. You just want to add just enough water to cover it. And then you can close it with the lid and go ahead and add your 1.5 bay leaf. If I was making more, let's say 6 pieces of chicken or a whole chicken, then I would just put a whole bay leaf or 2 bay leaves, depending on how much you're making. But I think I'm just going to use 1 bay leaf. That's good enough because these chickens are pretty small. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in there. Okay. So I use Daria, as you can see. They're dried. Of course, if you have fresh, you can always use fresh bay leaf as well. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and boil that for about a good half hour, until you see it's, you know, softening up and, you know, pretty tender. Once you see that it's, you know, boiling up and getting tender, then we're gonna begin to fry it. There's certain steps to this recipe, so I'll walk you through it and you'll see what's gonna come of it after. And then I'm also making some rice here. Yes, guys, I'm actually using a rice pot. I usually make rice on my own in the caldo, in the caldero. But yeah, I'm gonna make it in this just because it's more moist, and I like the way the machine makes it for this kind of stew. But I have it on warm right now, so while that's going, you just want to keep an eye on the chicken to make sure that it doesn't get too dry. You might have to add water. every now and then, just to make sure that it stays at the same level as the chicken. You don't want to put too much. You just want it to get softened, you know, so it's really a simmer. All right, let's let that do its thing. Into the oil, because now we're going to fry it. You want to make sure it's nice and dry. Okay guys, so it's starting to brown up. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from the oil. Little tongs. All right. So when you see it's nice and crispy, golden brown, not too crispy, just enough where you know it has that nice fried flavor. You want to remove it from the oil. Set it aside. I'm gonna take a spoon and try to remove some of the excess fat that fell in there. I'm just gonna discard that. All right, it's pretty clean. Okay. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add the other little piece of the onion that I had. Just chopping it the long way, and I'm gonna end up frying that. Alright, so I'm gonna let that red onion fry. And you don't want it to get too caramelized, but this is where I'm going to add in the tablespoon of the curry powder. And this is just mild, this is not the spicy one. So if you do like spicy, you can always get spicy, but then I'm going to add just half a tablespoon of the coriander seed. so fragrant. Okay. Come on. Alright, that's good enough. Alright, so now that we got that going, just want to give it a quick stir, because some of the dry ingredients might get stuck on the edges, so you want to get that all in there and fry it real good. Once you got that going, you want to add in the tomato paste. Now this is 2 baby cans of tomato paste, and you kind of want to, you know, reduce it because it does have like a really sharp flavor. So you just want to make sure it gets all broken down in the oil. And let me see, I'll see if we need that later. Okay. So yeah, it has a sharp flavor, so you just want to make sure you cook it down as much as you can. And just keep stirring it. You'll notice it'll get thicker and thicker. And if you don't like the thickness, you could always dilute it after and add some water. Or if you want it thicker, you can just add more tomato paste. So this recipe is very versatile. So it all depends on how you like your stews. If you like them thick, how I like them, or if you like them a little thinner, runnier, like a caldo. This reminds me a lot of like pollo guisado. It's very similar. Okay, so once we let that reduce down, we're gonna add in our tomatoes. Okay, so I use 1 whole can. You want to break them up. I'm going to raise the temperature to medium because I had it on low. As you can see, this is what a whole tomato looks like in there. So good, but we don't want them to be so big. Just chop them down. See, it's becoming more and more pureed. You don't want to have like big chunks like these. These are just too big, so you just kind of want to break it down. Break them up in there. You can do this ahead of time before pouring it in, but I just like to get it all going. Okay, now once we've reduced that, we can go ahead and add in the basil paste. But I want to let it simmer. Cover that. Okay, so once we get that going and you have it coming to a simmer, you wanna go ahead and add the puree of the ginger and garlic and the red onion. All that will help thicken up the stew as well. I have mine on low for now because it's easier to have it on low instead of splattering everywhere and make a mess. But it'll come back up to a boil. Okay, so this was the other half. Like I said, if you guys have any questions on measurements or anything you might have missed, just leave your comments and your questions below the video. Okay, now it's coming back to a simmer. We're gonna stir that in. Look at that. It smells so good in here. And we're gonna just keep reducing it down. So a lot of this moisture is gonna evaporate. Okay, so this is where I'll add in the basil paste. If I had fresh basil, I'd be using fresh, but I couldn't find any, so I'll add about half of the tube. This is 4 ounces, so about 2 ounces of basil. Give that a stir. Look at that. Nice and chunky and thick. Once you guys taste this, you'll be hooked. This is so good. And you can play around with this. If you wanted to add something else to it, you can. Oregano or any other seasonings you might like that you think goes with it. Okay, so we're just gonna let that reduce a little more, let the moisture come out, okay? Okay, this is where I'm gonna go ahead and put in the little Maggi tablet. You can get any other brands you might find of the bouillon, either chicken or shrimp. You can use either one for this recipe. It reminds me of a little candy. So you're gonna break this down into there as well to just give it more flavor. Look at that. Anyone that has cooked with this before knows how much flavor this little cube packs in it. So you're just gonna throw that in there, give it a quick stir. Let it melt in, it'll break down. And just keep letting it reduce all that moisture. You'll see all this moisture right here will reduce down. Okay, leave it nicely covered. Okay guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and add in the chicken so it can start getting the flavors. As you can see, it's simmering. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good. Let me show you what it looks like. You want to submerge the chicken in there so that it can get all those good flavors in there. And another thing I wanted to show you guys is where I boiled it. This is all the fat that came off of it. You see it even has like the skin on top. So a lot of the fatty parts of the skin and the chicken is left there. So that's a good thing. We're not eating all that fat. So last step that I would do is just chop up a little bit of cilantro, maybe a handful. You can skip it, that's optional if you don't like that. I personally, I love cilantro, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that up and get that in there as well. Okay, so as you can see, guys, we have it here bubbling away, reducing all that liquid that's in it. And this is the outcome. Very nice and stewy. Like I said, if you didn't want it too thick, you could always dilute it. I went ahead and I added the cilantro for color. As you can see how beautiful. Let me go ahead and remove the bay leaf. Look, turned to nothing. That's exactly what it was, but it's just for the flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and plate that so you guys can get an idea of what it's looking like. I also have some cabbage here, which is also optional. You can have any type of salad. I have some already chopped up here, and I'm just gonna add some lime to it just to give it flavor. No dressing, just to keep it on the simple side. Look how good that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the white rice first that I have here. Let me move you guys up. I don't know if you can see it keeps falling. Okay, I see. There we go. Sorry about that. Let me get my rice spoon. Then I'll go ahead and add the chicken. I love the thickness of this, guys. I love to add it on top of my rice, especially for all that sauce. You guys definitely have to try this. So, so good. Look at that. Super good. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and add in the cabbage. Want just for a little garnish, a little more flavor, and to add that nice color, you can add just some more sprigs of cilantro on top. And there you have it. Guyanese chicken with white rice and cabbage. Look at that, how pretty. I'll go ahead and have a try with you, just so I can tell you on the flavor, which I already tasted some of the sauce as it was going, but just having a nice piece of that chicken. Oh, it's so hot and steamy. I love hot food. Look at that. Let me get closer so you guys can see that. The inside, it's nice and soft. I have some with the white rice. Wow. You must try this, guys. Don't